When we think of dangerous women in the Rhea Palace, we imagine consorts scheming for power, concubines fighting rivals, and women competing for the emperor's attention. But some of the most chilling decisions in the entire series were made by the women standing quietly in the background, the ladies in waiting. What made them dangerous wasn't ambition or power, but something far more ordinary: comfort, loyalty, survival. Lishu's ladies embody the mean girl trope. Their danger is the quiet kind. It is cruelty disguised as authority. Their mistress is young, inexperienced, and easy to control. Instead of guiding her, they take advantage of her. They demean, neglect, and slowly strip away her confidence. And what's their aim in all this? To gain control. With Lishu's authority subdued, they can run the Diamond Pavilion as they please. They can manage resources, bend the rules, and even enjoy privileges far beyond their rank. What makes this even more dangerous is how short-sighted it is. Their power exists because of Lishu, and the moment she's mature enough to wield her authority, everything they've built will collapse. We already see a glimpse of it when she appoints a former food taster Kanan as her new head lady in waiting when she realizes that she has become her ally. But the other ladies in waiting seem to be so caught up in their strategy of using her like a puppet that they probably don't think Lishu could ever outgrow their manipulation. At their core, they are arrogant in thinking that they are above rules and consequences, and it's that attitude that probably sets them up for failure. And they probably don't even see themselves as villains. In their minds, they were simply rewarding themselves for being stuck with babysitting a bratty child. These were a group of ladies in waiting that never felt safe, and their danger lay in their desperation. They had the misfortune of serving the bitter, cruel concubine Jean. Those beneath her met her cruelty, while those above her rank she approached in a more underhanded way, through schemes. The court lady's son was unfortunate enough to get on her bad side for resembling her, and yet managing to garner the attention of a government official when she had never received a visit from the emperor. A fight ensues, and it leads to a tragic accident. Jean passes away. Her already fearful ladies in waiting are now in a full-blown panic. What do? Should they report it? But that could cost them their lives. In a moment of desperation, they come up with a plan that will hide the truth and save their skins. They wrap up Sun in bandages to make it look like Jean had succumbed to her own schemes to poison another consort. For a year, they kept up the whole charade, fooling everyone, including Jinshi. But the height of their desperation is seen when the year has come to an end. Sun's tenure is up, and she wants to settle into married life. The ladies in waiting panic. They can't let her go. She's their body double. The only reason no one has figured out what they did. Since Sun wouldn't cooperate, they chose to silence her permanently. And they would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for Mao Mao's investigation. Theirs is a tragic display of what fear can do and what lengths a desperate person is willing to go to. Lolan's ladies in waiting represent a different kind of danger: their absolute willingness. They were willing to do whatever it took to keep their mistress's secret. Unlike the others, they aren't reacting to circumstances. They've come to the Rhea Palace with a single purpose: to serve and conceal Lolan. They protect Lolan's identity by acting as her doppelgangers, often sitting in for her as she's out on her own side quests within the Rhea Palace and beyond. Lolan is known in the Rhea Palace as the consort that wears extravagant costumes and makeup, so much so that she looks different every time you see her. But the reason she looks different is because they are different people that we are seeing each time. Her ladies in waiting were particularly chosen for their appearance and build, which resembled Lolan's. The added flair of the rouge was only to further the elaborate ruse. The chilling part about them, though, is the uncertainty surrounding them. We don't really get their backstory. And so we don't know their motivations. Are they simply loyal to Lolan regardless of the cost? Are they afraid of Shenmei such that the risk of getting capital punishment seems trivial in comparison? Were they willing servants or forced into service? These are questions we may never get answers to, but the intrigue is what makes them interesting. I mean, think about it. These women were actively committing treason every time they put on the makeup or wore Lolan's costumes. Do you realize the amount of mental fortitude you'd need to be doing that for months on end? Lolan's ladies were cogs in a machine that played their part to perfection. They must have known what was going to happen to them in the end too. The consequences were so painfully obvious from the start, and yet you still see them hold on to their posts and protect their mistress to the very last minute before everything collapses. It makes me think that if these women served Lolan of their own volition, they had a fanatic level of loyalty, the kind you don't see anywhere else. These were women willing to erase their own identities to wear the mask of their mistress. Deceptions and masks. All these ladies used deception to make their mistresses disappear. Lishu's ladies made her disappear figuratively. They manipulated her and subdued her authority. They thwarted her confidence and self-esteem to a point where she was too timid to do anything and completely depended on them. They turned her into a shell of herself so they could shine. Jin's ladies literally watched their mistress pass away, buried her in secret, planted a replacement, and got rid of the replacement, all in the span of a year. They were literally the experts of making someone quote-unquote disappear. Lolan's ladies were able to help their mistress sneak in and out, and ultimately helped her disappear from the rear palace permanently by wearing her face. These women were cruel, desperate, and willing, but they were also ordinary. And their stories prove something unsettling. You don't need power to be dangerous. You just need the will to survive or the desire to thrive. Which group do you think was the most dangerous? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!